Good morning. I am with Josh England, and he will be at Wharton Center from April 8th through the 13th with Chicago the musical. And he has a couple parts that he plays, and he's a Michigan native, and he's going to share all about it today with me. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Christine.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Where are you calling or talking to me from?
Currently in my hotel room. We are currently performing in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We just opened here last night. And yeah, great audience last night. Got a great 8 hours of sleep last night and ready to do it all again today.
You guys are so busy. I don't know when you
Yes.
sleep or when you have time for any of this. Well, I am in Florida right now. I'm not in Michigan, but I will be went back for when you're in town. Can you tell us a little bit about your story about Wharton Center and how it maybe led you to today?
Oh my gosh. So very, very special story that I've been thinking about it a lot as we're about to play there. When I was 16 years old, I went with my whole family to go see Wicked, the musical. It was my first time I had ever seen like a Broadway national tour. I'd been doing like musicals in high school, and so we were all super excited to go see it. And I was sat between, I remember my mom and my grandma and we were watching the show and I remember seeing the dancers and I just remember getting like chills all over my body and being like, I don't know how to do this, but I have to do I need to do this. And it's very special because my grandmother, she passed away a few years ago. But I remember we like stood up at the end of the show and we were all clapping for the performers bowing and she like pulled me down to her. She was really short. She pulled me down to her and she was like, "That's gonna be you one day." And I was like, I didn't know what she meant at that time. And I was just like, oh, that I was like, because she knew I really liked performing. And my whole family is so, so supportive of anything that I do. And so at the time, I was just like, oh my gosh, like what a sweet sentiment. And now booking when I booked this job, I immediately like when I booked the job, I FaceTime my mom and she and I are both like crying and I'm telling her this story and it's actually on my Instagram. My roommate at the time filmed me telling my mom that I booked the job and we're both just like crying and I thought back to that moment when my grandma was like that's gonna be you one day and we were sat in like the last seat of the orchestra at the Wharton Center. And I just remember like that is where all of my whole career in this journey really began because I didn't know if I really what I wanted to do, but I saw that show and I said, I have to do this. And from that moment on, it really is how I've gotten here. And so it will be very, very special to perform my first like Broadway national tour on stage at the Wharton Center, like in the exact room where I really decided I wanted to do this. Um, so yes, I'm very excited.
I'm getting a little thinking about my grandma, they're special. And it's just that she had that
Yeah,
idea that she knew what you were going to do. So good for her. Good for
I
grandma.
know.
They're the
Yes.
best. Well, I'm good. And that leads me to the next question. Is anyone from your family going to be here?
Yes, my whole family, all of the grandma, grandpa, my mom, my dad, my little brother, he's flying in from Chicago. We have family flying in from like Colorado, Chicago, um, all of my like aunts and uncles, so many like just like teachers and friends and family from Michigan. They have all messaged me letting me know that they're going to be there like all week and everything. So it's going to be a very, very packed, very special week there in Michigan.
That's amazing. And you're going to have your own little cheering section every single night, I'm
Yeah.
sure. This will be so cool.
Yeah.
And now, before we talk about the show, I hear you may be in a house that's divided. You may be on the wrong side of that divide if you're coming to East
A
Lansing.
little bit, we grew up very close to Ann Arbor. I'm from Plymouth, Michigan, and so we grew up going to Ann Arbor a lot as a family, and we have a lot of family friends that are very big Michigan fans, going to games and such. And my little brother, he decided to go to MSU for college, and so when that happened, it was very much then a house divided. And so we root for both teams, except when they're playing against each other, you got to pick your own side and just deal with it. But yes, we
We get
are
it.
divided.
We totally get it. So now tell us about your role as you play the doctor, you play the judge, you have a dancing, you're on the
Yeah,
ensemble, and then you also, I'll let you,
understudy.
yeah, I'll
Yeah,
let you tell us about it.
so I dance in the ensemble. We all in the ensemble we all have characters that we play, and so along with dancing in the show, I get to play the doctor and the judge in Act Two, which is lots of fun. And I also understudy one of the principal roles, Amos Hart, which is Roxy Hart's husband. So that's been a huge, amazing opportunity and growing and learning and getting to, do my normal ensemble role. And then, you get the call that so and so is out and you're gonna go on for one of the leads. It's always a thrill. It's always so much fun. We have such an amazing supportive cast whenever understudies go on. And so singing and acting in front of like thousands of people, it was the first time I did it, it was very, it's a little nerve-wracking at first, but now I feel very like calm, cool, collected when I do it. And I've gotten to do it a handful of times on tour this year. So it's been really, really, really rewarding, I would say.
Well, you planned for it, you trained for it, and now you're said,
You learn the
I don't,
line.
yeah, it's still, when we go to the shows, both Julie and I go to a lot of the shows, and it's just, it's awe-inspiring just to know exactly what to do. I mean, it's your job, obviously, but it's just incredible.
Yeah.
We're both looking forward to it. But now, Chicago is known for its energy and kind of iconic style. What's your do you have a favorite scene or number and why? And or if you can share it with us.
Oh yes, absolutely. My favorite number in the whole show is the opening number, All That Jazz. We dance the overture, the orchestra plays, and all the dancers we dance, and then we all come together, and the show starts. And Velma Kelly comes up from the bandstand, and we all like hit a pose, and then we all sort of like we all move as one. Um, as all of the dancers on stage and we do it's really I think it's my favorite part of the show because not only is it we're opening the show but we all start the movement, we all do it in unison together, and there's something so captivating about that. And this iconic um Bob Fosse choreography that is it's Anne Ranking's choreography based on Bob Fosse. And really what she did with that choreography, it really everything we do is very simplistic and small, and we're on a stage, we're all in all black, and or we always call it our Fosse blacks. We're in our all black like costumes and stuff, and we do very like simple like movements that really have the audience sit forward and go, okay, what are they all about to do? And it's a beautiful moment because we all breathe together as one. You hear it as when you see the show, you'll see it's a really nice moment that we all come together as one, and we all are like, okay, we're gonna do this show for the next 2.5 hours. And it's such a beautiful way, I think, to open the show and just come together as like a cast. And we're like, ah, yes, we are a team. Let's do this. And we have such a beautiful, beautiful company of just really good like human beings on stage, backstage. And yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. But long-winded, but all that jazz, the opening number is by far like my favorite part of the show.
Well, you mentioned before we went on recorded here that you did sports as a child. That it was um, that theater and performing was kind of a thought that you had a little bit later. But it kind of sounds like a pregame, in front of the audience. So that's kind
Yeah.
of, to show that you're unison and that you're on the. I I like symbolism like that myself, but
Oh yeah, I love it. I because I came from like a sports background growing up, and my parents were very athletic, outdoorsy, and I just have to shout out, I have the best parents in the world. They're so supportive and so wonderful, and they've instilled so many so many just like really just like good like work ethic and being a good team player. That's something that was always instilled in us from such a young age. And as I like, stopped doing sports and I started dancing and I got into this, I realized how important it is to be a team player. This is so not an individual thing. Like it only works when we all work together. And I got to train a lot of competition dancers when I was in my senior year of college. And I used a lot of that like wordage of like teamwork. We are all in this together, supporting one another. And it goes in so many ways of not just sports, but like working as like a professional dancer and in a Broadway national tour. That mentality, I think it just helps bring us together and helps, I think, create a really nice community of supporting each other. Because what we do is really hard. Doing a Broadway national tour, traveling a lot, you're tired, you're on the bus and airplanes for many, many hours going to the different cities. And I think just really supporting one another on good days and hard days is really important. And so, yes, that like team mentality is something that I'm constantly thinking about because it gets me in the right mindset, and I definitely I feel that from our cast members as well.
That is, I like how you pulled that all together. And also, I mean, you're a touring family. You all have to on
We
stage,
really
off stage, wherever you're
we
at,
really are.
you have to get along.
Yeah.
Or it's easier to see along, it's just always easier. So, um, since you're in a hotel room, what is there anything that you bring with you that you have to bring with you that makes you feel like that's more like home?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I have a few little things that I bring with me just because like you can only bring so much in like your suitcases and stuff. Um, I don't know. For some, so I have a picture of my grandmother that I spoke of earlier that passed away that my grandpa had given me, and that goes everywhere with me. I take it with me like to the theater, to keep it here at home or home, my hotel room. I'll put it on my dressing room station. Um, a weird thing for me is I have like mint tea that I drink every single morning and every single night. Like that's something it's like a ritual of like, okay, this is how I start my day, this is how I end my day. I'm trying to think what else. I have like a little like a tiny little candle that I don't even light. I just like I put it on my nightstand and I just smell it because it smells good and it just feels homey. One of my competition dance students came and saw the show when we were in Toledo, Ohio, and they brought me this cute little like Michigan coaster. And it has a bunch of like little Michigan stuff on it. And so I'll use that. And I just like, it's like I set my little things on my nightstand, and that sort of helps me feel like, okay, this is home. This is like home for the night. Sometimes we're only in cities for one night. And so just like little things like that, I think help a lot in terms of like always moving around and just like, you have your favorite like clothing items and things
Sure.
like that that just remind you of home. My parents for Christmas actually did me this sweatshirt that they embroidered our family's dog's face on. And so I will wear that a lot on travel days, and it has his little name on it. And that's just a lovely, just like, okay, I'm carrying parts of home with me, even though I am all over the country traveling like crazy.
How do you keep in touch with, I mean, do you like FaceTime or call mom and
Yeah,
dad from
I
different
mean,
places?
yeah, so my mom texts me every single morning, and that's like always, she has texted me every single morning since the day I moved away to college. And so we always have a little check-in. I always text her back. I normally like to call my mom about like an hour before the show. I'll try and if I can, we FaceTime. We travel so much and so often, so it can be difficult, but I'm always on the phone or talking to my parents a lot. And I always text with my grandparents. Like me and my grandpas send the wordle to each other every morning. So that's always a nice little check-in. And he'll send his wordle and then he'll give me a little blurb about his day, and I'll do the same. It's a nice way to stay connected because it is hard. I'm very, very close with my family, and so it was an adjustment in the beginning being away for sure. But we make it work. FaceTime and phone calls and text are a beautiful thing that keep us connected. And I'm so excited because I'll get to see my family in just a little over a week or two. It's been a few months since I last saw them. So yeah, so I'm excited.
Is there anything you're hoping to see or do while you're in East Lansing?
You say that thing?
Or,
Um, well, it's exciting because my little brother, he did just graduate in 2024 or yes, in the year 2024 from MSU. And so he'll be there for the show too. He's flying in. He now works in like corporate finance in Chicago. And so he's flying in. And so I think honestly what I'm just really excited to see is my family. If I'm being so honest. I mean, we went up to MSU a ton and when my little brother was there and visited him. But truthfully, I'm just so excited to just see my family
well,
when
I
I'm
don't
there.
think there's a better, the better treat. You get to see him for a whole week,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
repeatedly. So that's great.
And we have then a week off after we play
Oh,
Wharton Center. We actually have a scheduled like layoff week for like Easter and stuff. So I'm gonna then get to go home and be with my family and be home for Easter. And so it will be such a beautiful like 2 weeks in Michigan. I've missed it. And springtime in Michigan is so beautiful. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
oh, that's great. I'm happy for you. Happy for all of you. Um, is there any limitations or age restrictions on, or what would you say that the appropriate age to see the show would be?
Yeah, I would say the show does have I would say some mature subject matters. We do deal in the opening speech we talk about it's about um murder, greed, corruption, violence, exploitation, a lot of those things. So like I would say it is for a mature audience. We have performed the show and I look out and there are tiny little ones in the audience and we're like, oh my gosh, we're like, okay. But I would say around like 13 and up would be
Okay,
I would say. It deals, some things probably go over their head
sure.
uh, with some things, but I would say like we do deal with more mature subject matters. So it is for, I would say, a more mature audience. But if you've seen the movie, I remember seeing the movie in high school. Our drama teacher showed us the movie, and I was 13 at the time, I would say. So I would say like 13 and up.
What do you hope audiences will take away, Wharton Center audiences will take away from the performance of Chicago?
Yes, the show is so timeless. It talks a lot about, the idea of celebrity and what that can mean and how, and you'll see in the show the idea of like fame and fortune and how fleeting it can be. And the show it is a farce, and so it deals with a lot of, we're saying certain things, but we're relaying a different message. And so I think for me, I think it's really important that audiences understand that like the idea of like celebrity and all that stuff it can seem so like the glitzy and glamour of it all, but there is such a different layer behind it and really understanding what like the truth in situations are. And so we can sometimes, put people on pedestals. And I think it's really important to look at human beings and look at their actions and look at what the truth actually is. And it's a show that has, it's currently now the longest running American Broadway musical. And when this show opened in 1997, the message is so timeless. And, the idea of like celebrity and everything, I think that it's it's very timely to constantly what is going on in today's, happenings. And I think, yeah, I think if you come see the show, I don't want to, no spoilers, but you come and you see the show, and by the end of the show, there's a certain line that I love. And the audiences usually laugh at it, or they're like, oh, okay. And they walk away and they see like, oh, okay. They got us. They got us there. It's like you're rooting for these characters, but then you're like, but they do all these things. And you're like, hmm. And so you do walk away and you sort of sit like with it. And you're like, interesting. Okay. For me, I hope that an audience that comes and sees Chicago, I hope they walk away scratching their head thinking. I hope they walk away thinking, being like, huh, is everything that I think and idealize and sort of the idea of celebrity. I hope they walk away and they're scratching their head thinking, huh, is this is my thinking always correct? Am what I think or what I see on the news and that sort of thing, I hope it gets people thinking when they leave the theater.
I was trying to cut through here. Sorry about that. Um, I personally love theater that entertains me, and then I'm leaving asking myself lots of questions. So
Yeah.
this sounds like this will be, I mean, I've seen the movie myself, but this seems like this is just right up my alley. So I'm very excited about it. And I appreciate you taking time to chat with me today and my not normal surroundings. Um, in a place where you enjoy. You said that you like coming to Florida, and
Yes, Florida.
hopefully, I'll bring some warm back to Michigan. So when
Yeah,
you're there, it'll be more spring like and not winter like.
sure.
So, well,
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time today, and we will look forward to seeing you at Wharton Center between April 8th and 13th for Chicago the Musical.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you
Josh.
so much. Bye.
Bye.